Welcome to Best of the Nest, a weekly program produced by the television production students of Armstrong High School. Each and every week, we will take a look at some of the unique things happening in our school and community. And today, we're talking about the last class of Kittanning and Ford City. I'm Keylan Clark of AHS-TV and joined by Mr. Cominos. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourselves for our viewers?
Well, I'm one of the principals here at the high school. I am the former principal at Ford City High School, and currently I focus on the academic and the student achievements of the students here in Armstrong High School.
That's nice. Thank you. We're now going to take a closer look at how he feels about the seniors being the last class of Kittanning and Ford City.
I'm out here in the halls of AHS to see what your thoughts on being the last class of students that went to Kittanning and Ford City.
I went to Ford City High School.
I went to Kittanning.
How do you feel about being the last class of Kittanning or Ford City?
We have a unique view of high school, like, from going to knowing everyone in your school to maybe half, if that.
It's pretty cool. It's unique to, be, one of the last classes to ever come from Ford City or Kittanning, so I think it's pretty cool.
I think that it was pretty cool to experience this new school here.
Do you still feel there is tension between us, even though we joined together?
Not really. I mean, some people mess around and, pick on one of the schools about, something that maybe Ford City was better at than Kittanning, or Kittanning was better at than Ford City, but not really. I think we're all pretty good friends now.
I think at the beginning there was.
Right. Maybe in the younger grades, yeah.
Do you miss Kittanning or Ford City?
Not really.
I went to Ford City, so I miss it a little bit. I lived right beside the school, so I could wake up 10 minutes before class, put my clothes on and just go to school. It was pretty cool. I miss Ford City a little bit, but it's nice here at Armstrong too.
And we're back with more of AHS-TV's Best of the Nest. I'm Keylan Clark of AHS-TV, and we're picking back up with the last class of Kittanning and Ford City. What school did you work at before we combined?
I was at Ford City High School.
Do you feel the combination was for better or worse?
When you look at the facilities that we're currently in compared to what we had at the previous schools, whether it's heating and air conditioning, the TV studio that we're in, the office spaces, the auditorium, the facilities-wise, it was much better coming here. I can remember days at Ford City where on the third floor it would be 90 degrees. It was extremely uncomfortable, really humid. We just didn't have enough air movement up there. I can remember the extremely cold days where there'd be hot pockets in the building and cold pockets in the building. So while we know we have heating issues, not really issues, we have heating things here where we're still trying to balance it out years later. It's still a much better, more conducive environment for what we try to get done here.
Yeah. Do you miss the old days?
When you get old like me, everybody starts to wonder, you get nostalgic and you start thinking, what if? Do I miss the old days? It's tough to quantify. Do I miss them? I enjoyed my days at Ford City, but my days at Armstrong have challenged me in a different way, and it's been an exciting part of my career.
Do you feel the students interacted more because they were in a smaller environment?
I can't say that because when we tried to build this building, we tried to build school within a school. We tried to have a separate junior high school from our senior high. We knew they were going to intermix in certain places, like, for example, the hallway leading down to the tech ed and band areas, where we have common areas. The B hallways is another common area. For the most part, student interaction is student interaction. I think it depends on projects that are going on, conversations that occur, friendships that get made throughout the building. So I can't say that they communicate more, they communicate differently.
Do you feel there's still tension between the students?
I'll be honest with you, when we came to the school, I didn't feel that there was tension then. Tension's an odd term. That first graduating class, I believe they felt that they missed out on their opportunity to Kittanning and Ford City individually because they lived it their entire time. I believe the classes after that have graduated as Riverhawks. They really didn't seem to delineate between the two. I'm sure there's always pockets of kids that probably have that feeling, but over the years, I think that has gone away.
I know you work with the football team. Do you feel that the combination of athletes has been for better or worse?
I don't understand your question, I guess.
Like, do you feel that, like, if we wouldn't have combined, like, combining the, like, most, like, athletic of certain schools, like, combining them together, do you feel that has made our football team better?
We're playing in a different classification. We're playing against larger schools. I can't say we're better or worse for coming together. I almost feel like that's not a real fair question, because competition is competition. And I'd like to believe that you rise to that level of competition if you're truly a competitor, and if you train for it, and if you work at it. It shouldn't matter what level that you're playing at. I was coaching, prior to coaching here, I coached at a single A school, and we were playing against Clareton, Jeanette, Greensburg Central Catholic, and some of the best teams in the single A. And my preparation, while different here at Armstrong, is still preparation for a game. Is getting athletes ready and getting ready to compete. So I don't think it makes a difference as to whether we were together or apart.
Do you feel all the seniors that have graduated, that the whole idea of Kittanning and Ford City idea will go away?
I think I kind of mentioned that earlier. I feel like over the years that has waned. Like I said, especially in year 2, I felt that that class was more we are Riverhawks mentality than Ford City and Kittanning. And I think we had some of that with that first graduating class, but those students still held on to, again, because they were there for so long, they still held on to their Wildcat and Sabre prides. And you really can't blame them for that. That's what they knew up to that point. And this whole new concept of Armstrong was new to everybody. And those that embraced it, and those that didn't, it's understandable why they didn't.
What do you feel is the best part about the combination?
The best part about the combination? One of the things we tried to do, no matter what situation we're in, is we tried to give the students the best possible chance to be successful beyond high school. We talk about career readiness, whether you're heading off to college or whether you're going out to the workforce. And I like to think that what we try to provide here at Armstrong is we try to provide that opportunity for students to allow them to collaborate with each other, to allow them to experience different things in order to take those experiences and build it into a future career down the road.
We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with more of AHS-TV's Best of the Nest.
I fell in love with the campus, with the people, with my IUP life. See it for yourself. Visit us. Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
And we're back with more of AHS-TV's Best of the Nest. I'm Keylan Clark of AHS-TV, and we're picking back up with the last class of Kittanning and Ford City. What was your idea whenever you first found out that the schools were combining?
I've been part of building constructions before in my last job, my last school district. So I think my excitement about this possibility was having a major input in the construction of this facility, anywhere from the size of the classrooms to where we're putting what, to even numbering the lockers in the rooms, and designing what we wanted to make out of this school. Knowing that we had a budget constraint and knowing what we were allowed to spend, I was pretty excited about the possibilities of what was going to be placed up on this hill.
So did you have like any input on like how the school was built?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the architects came up, the process really starts with the architects talking to you. This is what our curriculum looks like. This is what we'd like our class sizes to be. This is how many teachers we have, how many students we have. These are our goals for the future, looking forward as to building a facility that will house what we wanted it to house. From there, the architects come up with a plan, and then we sit there and look at the plan and kind of go back and forth as to what's going to be best for us, knowing, again, what we were shooting for, and then keeping it under, again, that budget constraint of we only have so much money to spend to build a facility.
How do you feel about the first day of AHS was?
It was nerve-wracking in the fact that we were going to be bringing in about 1,600 students. None of us have ever experienced that before. I went to a big high school when I was in high school, but it was a 9 through 12 building, and we weren't sure how all these people were going to function in a brand new facility. Everybody was lost on that first day. No matter whether you came to our orientation sessions or not, everybody wondered, where's the C hallway? Where's the F hallway? Where's the locker room at? I mean, everybody could see the gym and the auditorium as soon as you walk into that main vestibule. Where's the guidance office at? There's so many questions of people being lost that no matter who we trained to be our tour guides, they were confused a little bit too. Mr. Lorigan and Mr. Rummel and I put a lot of time into designing a pattern within the school in order to make it as easy as possible. From something simple like the even numbers, classrooms are on one side, the odd numbers are on the other side, to labeling the hallways with a letter as well as a number to designate what floor it was on. We tried to design a pattern that would be easy for everybody to understand. I think it didn't take long, but I think that initial shock of, wow, look at this place. It's so different than where we came from. It took us a little bit off from everybody.
So do you feel like some kids still get confused about where to go?
About the only students that are confused now are probably the 7th graders or new students that come to the school. I think the older students that have been here for a number of years are very comfortable with where they're at. And our younger kids, they pick it up really quick.
How did y'all get the attention to go down from the first day to now?
Just being here over time. Tension's a tough word. When I say tension, I don't mean it as in a combative sense. It was tension like stress.
Yeah.
Wanting to make sure everything came off the way we wanted it to come off. We wanted it to be as perfect as possible because we knew day 1 was going to help set the tone for day 2 and day 3 right up to the end of the school year. And we wanted to make sure everything we did was as perfect as we could make it. And as we discovered problems that came up, we constantly looked to say, how can we make this better? And then we went and made it better.
So was there like a certain problem that like y'all had to fix?
No, not any certain specific thing, just troubleshooting things as you go through. Anytime you move into, even when you build a new house and you move into it the first time, oh, we forgot this, or gee, I wish we would have done it differently this way. Well, we didn't do that. The construction's already over. How can we remedy that situation now? So there wasn't one specific thing. It's just everything when you move into a new building.
Were y'all scared that like most of the kids weren't going to fit in the school?
No, we were very, very comfortable with what we had. We wanted to make sure we took painstaking time to balance our classrooms out the best that we could, making sure we didn't have too many students in one lunch over another. We knew we built a facility that can hold everybody. That wasn't the concern. The concern was to make sure, is there something we might have overlooked in the process? Again, because none of us had opened the brand new school. I mentioned about the construction I was involved in. We stayed in that school. We just renovated it and added on to it. So this is brand new to everybody. So when we moved in here in July, we took time, because they were still finishing it throughout that first summer, and we took the time to make sure we combed through everything and made sure that we had what we were looking for our kids. And you still were going to miss something. We knew we were going to miss something. We just didn't know what it was going to be. We were trying to eliminate any surprises through preparation.
Why do you think so many people oppose the combination?
I don't remember seeing a whole lot of opposition. The people that I talked to that were opposed to it were holding on to old traditions. It's never easy to let go of what you know and where you're comfortable. Whenever you pull a school out of a town, quite often that town loses its identity. So the one thing we always tried to make sure we did, no matter what we did, we tried to treat each of our communities as fairly as possible, making sure our band showed up in different places, that we represented in chorus festivals. Even before we built our new stadium, the football team, for example, would practice at Ford City and play their games at Kittanning. Taking it a step further, the only track we had in the school district was at Ford City, so we continued to have our track meets there. our first year of baseball. We didn't have baseball and softball fields, so we played our softball games at Kittanning and our baseball games at Ford City. So that was us taking advantage of the facilities we needed to use as we continued, but also trying to make sure we didn't totally alienate the communities that we were coming from.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought up the whole idea of like still playing into the community, because like the placement of the school, like you know how it's in the middle. Was there like an intention to do that?
We were looking at the time for any piece of property that we could build this size of facility. There was a family that essentially donated the property to us to build the school. This was when I talked to some people that had been here for a long time, they said that we took their hunting grounds away from them, because this is where they went deer hunting and turkey hunting and whatnot. And if you're up here long enough for any period of time, you will see the wildlife still walk through our campus. It's kind of neat in that aspect. But this was essentially donated to us, so it was just a perfect opportunity for us to be able to take that money that we would have used to purchase property in order to add it back into the building itself.
Kind of like utilizing your resources.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the old schools being destroyed?
Well, at Ford City, and I could speak to that building specifically just because I was very intimate in knowing that building, there were a lot of issues within that school. And we always said that whenever we were there, that we were going to do the best we could with what we had, meaning we knew if something broke, we were going to do our best to fix it. We were constantly looking to update things. But in the long run, we looked at renovating the school at one point, and it was so cost prohibitive that anybody else that would have tried to come into there would have run into the same problems that we ran into. So I believe that when they made the decision to tear down Ford City, it was always intended to, what are we going to put there next, or what's going to be put there next? But we knew for it to be usable, the school had to go away.
So do you feel like it could have been used for like anything else?
That's beyond my thinking. To be honest with you, I don't know what you could have used it for. You know, a lot of suggestions over the years, you know, turn it into apartment buildings, turn it into this, turn it into that. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it wouldn't have been cost effective for a lot of people at that point. It needed a new boiler system, for example. It needed updated plumbing. It needed updated electrical. So those are always issues that you're going to run into whenever you have a program looking to put something in that facility. It was also a very large facility, so if you're going to try to reuse it as something else, you needed to have, whatever it was, needed to be something pretty big. Even if they were just going to use part of it, you're still going to heat the entire facility, for example.
So there were many people trying to buy the school. Do you feel that there was a certain reason that they were denied?
I can't answer that because I was never part of those conversations.
So do you feel that the destruction was a symbolism of the start of a new era?
Yeah, I do believe that. It was a change for this entire valley, this River Valley area between Kittanning and Ford City. It was something that hasn't been experienced, and I like to think it was something that would bring the communities together. You know, other examples were, you know, when they built West Shamokin, they closed Shannock Valley and Dayton high schools at that point, and that was a change. And this whole school district, through its history, from what I understand, has gone through major changes. I mean, when I first came to the district in 2000, there were 5 high schools in the district. Now we're down to 2. I feel like we're spending money in a wise manner now. We're not duplicating things between our schools. I believe it is a new era for this valley, and hopefully it's something that will help this whole community grow. This is just one element of that community that, you know, hopefully some housing comes up and maybe different business opportunities. Based on the students that we're producing, people maybe want to come here and put those businesses into place. So yeah, I believe it is a new era for the community. Now that we're 5 years old, I'd like to think we're already on our way.
So do you feel like the combination has like infected the teachers in any kind of way?
You'd have to ask them, because teaching, again, is teaching. What they do within the walls of their classroom still has to be effective instruction. It still has an approved curriculum by the school district that we utilize. I'm sure their relationships have changed from what they had at their smaller buildings. And I've had some teachers tell me as such, but I can't say that it's necessarily a positive or a negative. That's something you'd have to ask them more directly.
Has it like affected your job in any way?
It definitely has affected my job. We have 3 principals in the school. We don't just have me in the building anymore. So a lot of my decisions are shared with other guys, and we bounce ideas off of Mr. Lorigan, Mr. Rummel, and myself. We're constantly bouncing things off of each other. We each have our role within the school, but overall we do collaborate on almost every element of running this facility.
So do you feel that it's like better to have 3 principals instead of 1?
At present, yes, as we were starting this process, absolutely. And like I said, there is an extreme benefit to using a full team of people. Just like you would, again, you used the example of football earlier, just, one guy can't run the entire thing. You ask your assistant coaches, everybody has to take a role in making a big system work. And so we each have our role and we do it very well. And like I said, even when we were apart, we were constantly calling each other. Here's the situation I have, how might you handle it? Getting opinions from your peers. And when I was in a school district that had 1 high school, I didn't have that necessarily. But here in Armstrong, no matter where we were, we had somebody else to bounce an idea off of.
So you feel like you have help?
If nothing else, whether you call it help or whether you call it just sharing and collaborating, I believe it makes us better. It gives us a different perspective than your initial thought in the process.
Yeah, I feel that way too. What's your favorite part of the AHS building?
My favorite part of the building?
Yeah.
The kids in the school. That's my favorite part, because the one thing I've always prided myself when I started my teaching is doing whatever I could for the students in order for them to make a positive change in their lives. And when I look back at my Facebook account or my Twitter account and I see my former students reaching back out to me and I can see their successes through what they're posting, that's my reward. That's my favorite part, no matter where I've been.
What's your best memory at working at the old school?
My best memory? Gosh, there's so many things that come to mind. Again, feeling nostalgic at the moment makes a difference. I can't pick out one specific thing. Probably the most recent things would come to mind first, but there's so many great things that happened over my 8 years there that I can even go back to my previous time at Kittanning Middle School and say that I had some great memories there as well. So to pick out one thing really wouldn't be fair to that as well, because I could probably sit here for hours and just tell stories, and that's, again, part of being old and being nostalgic.
So what kind of emotions were going through you whenever the building first opened?
Excitement, like I said earlier, about a little bit of stress, making sure we did everything right, or what did we maybe miss in the process. Confidence that we were doing the right things and starting something brand new. There's a lot of different things that happen on those first days, emotionally opening up, that it was exciting.
Well, that's our show for the week. I'd like to thank Mr. Cominos for joining me today. Best of the Nest is a production of the students enrolled in television production courses at Armstrong High School. Join us again next week for a look at some of the unique things happening in Armstrong High School and communities. Until then, from our nest to yours, have a great week.